She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Have you been completely duped when it comes to money? Have you had friends, family members, everyone around you, even society, gosh, even church, try to convince you that going into debt is just a really good idea? You know, everybody else is doing it, right? So why not? If everybody else is in debt, then it's okay for me to be in debt. What we want to talk to you about today is about your money and you becoming financially responsible. Actually, let's not use that word because nobody likes to be responsible, but financially wise. Somebody that is no longer ignorant to how actually money works. So in today's show, we're going to talk about debt, good or bad. Is it good or bad? What's your opinion about it? We asked that question on our Facebook page, which, by the way, if you haven't come and joined us on Facebook, you got to meet this community. It's an amazing community of people from literally all over the world. Over 600,000 people gather on a daily basis between, actually, that's just one of our Facebook pages. I think we have, whatever, doesn't matter. But you can find us on social media, whatever social media it is that you're a part of, at Dani Johnson Live. Dani Johnson Live is our handle. We'd love to see your comment right here below. If you're watching this on television, come on, pull out your smartphone. You know you already have it in your hand. Head over to Facebook and type in Dani, D-A-N-I, Johnson Live. So because we want you to interact with us while this show is actually taking place. So we asked the question, okay, so is there such thing as a good debt? The varying and different opinions is really, really staggering to me. And I want to dive deep and answer even some of these opinions and maybe give one of my own. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, Dani, who cares about your opinion? Okay, you're right, but let me take you here. I grew up on welfare in a violently abusive, drug-infested home. Pregnant at 17, out of wedlock, homeless at 21, but millionaire by 23. Completely debt-free. My husband and I just paid cash for a very exquisite home, dream home. 100% of the profits of our business goes straight to taking care of the poor, building houses for the poor, feeding thousands of orphans every single month, freeing kids out of the sex trade every single month, taking care of the elderly every single month. Are you listening to me? So as a person who owns a company, as a CEO, I don't touch the profits and I don't take a salary. So we managed to create wealth from multiple different places. And between all of these different investments that we've made, we paid cash for a house. And by the way, that didn't even touch our wealth. This is just extra money because of the way that we manage our finances. So if you're still thinking right now, Dani, I don't care about your opinion, you could stop watching this show and you could go ahead and keep living yourself the way you are because I beat all the odds. And so did my husband. We beat all the odds. We grew up on welfare. We were destined to be welfare kids. Okay. We grew up in an environment of drugs. We were destined to be in an environment of drugs. We grew up with abuse. We were destined to be abusive to our children. None of those things took place as we raised 5 kids. We now have 8 grandkids and counting because there's some on the way. And so bottom line, we figured out something with finances. The first 10 years, we lived like fools. We learned how to make money. We learned how to make millions of dollars, and we spent all of it, and we ended up with almost $1 million worth of debt. We were under so much pressure. We felt like we were drowning. We felt like we were trying to get to the top to catch some air. And it felt like we catch a little bit and then sink right back down again. And so all the purchasing that we did, we never found satisfaction in it. We never found fulfillment in it. We didn't find fulfillment in any of the stuff that we were buying. And it isn't until 18 years ago that we woke up from our drunken debt stupor and began to go, what are we doing? This sucks. And paying off all of our debt was our next goal. And so right away, within that first year, we paid off $100,000 worth of credit card and car debt and became consumer debt free. And then we ended up now no mortgages. We have multiple different properties, whether it's land, houses, or whatever. We are now the bank for other people. And again, we've paid cash for a dream home. And it is an exquisite dream home. You got to see this thing. It's crazy. And again, all the while taking care of the poor. Okay, we've given millions and millions and millions of dollars away to the poor. So if you want to stick with the opinion that you have, that's a 98% opinion in most cases that works really hard their whole lives. They go into debt to get with student loans to get the education that was supposed to get them a good job and didn't. 98% of the population ends up with their first credit card at 18 years old. 98% of the population got introduced to that first credit card by their own parents who were in debt and suffering and suffocating under debt, and yet encouraged their children to suffocate and die under the pressure of debt. Makes no sense. Okay. So 98% of the population who ends up taking a lifetime to pay their student loans, within a couple of years of finding some kind of a job, they end up buying a car with debt. They have these student loans. They now have car loans. Let's add up the amount. What is it? $50, $70, $80, $100,000 between cars and student loans. And then, of course, they venture out to buy their first home. And they get a mortgage on that first home. So now where are we at? We're like another 100. So we're at $200,000 worth of debt by the time you're 25 years old. And that's if you just got a basic education. God forbid if you ended up like going to medical school or you got some master's degree or something like that. It's like you can add another $50 to $100 to $200,000 on top of that. So you're under the age of 30 and you are on lockdown as a slave to your bills. And then, of course, let's add all the other, that does not even include credit card debt. I just gave you the debt of the average person without credit cards. Department stores, credit cards, appliance stores, the list goes on of all the different credit cards that are being given to you, right? Enticing you through earning points, enticing you through earning some kind of rewards, enticing you, oh, wait, you bought a house, now it's 0% down the first year for your furniture. Well, your kids already threw up all over the furniture. The furniture's already broken down. It's made in China, but you're still going to pay on it for a lot of time. So that's what 98% of the population does. They've been convinced that debt is good, and this is where they're going. So let's look at this. Listen, here at DaniJohnson.com, we're about your success. We're not about judging you from your financial position. If you found yourself in this place, and by the way, how can I talk about it? Because this is what we lived. This is exactly what we lived. We were in our 20s with almost $1 million worth of debt. That's disgusting. That's horrifying. I don't recommend that for anybody. So I'm a big one on stay out of debt. There's always another way. There's always a way to be able to follow your dreams. There's always a way to make money. There's always a way to pay cash. There's always a way to negotiate, okay? So let's get into it. So what does the Bible say about debt? It's pretty clear. It says the borrower is slave to the lender. That's Proverbs 22:7. It is better not to vow than to vow and not pay. Ecclesiastes 5:5. If you lack the means to pay, your very bed will be snatched from under you. Proverbs 22:26 through 27. So it's pretty clear. Okay, now what is it saying? It's saying that if you are going to be, and it also says that you are to be the lender, not the borrower. Why? Because he doesn't want you enslaved. That's why. Because he doesn't want you under the pressure, because he doesn't want you to walk in poverty. He gives the option and teaches all the way through the best success book ever written exactly how to accumulate wealth. Now listen, medical debt. Sometimes there are some things that are unavoidable. So I don't want you to feel like, I don't want you to be putting down on yourself. Some things are unavoidable, but that's not everything all the time. Some people use the mindset of like, well, that was unavoidable. That blouse was unavoidable. That eating out 5 nights a week is unavoidable. No, it's not. You see, if you learn to manage your money really wisely, you can pay cash for everything, including homes, including dream homes, including $1 million homes. Yes, that's what I just said. Including multiple $1 million homes, if you're wise financially. So what if there was a way? What if there was a way to pay off all of your debt? What if there was a way to not be ensnared by it, but to pay cash, increase your income, accumulate wealth, multiply that wealth, right? So that you can live the life that you want to live. It takes a little bit of discipline, a little bit of knowledge. In fact, a whole lot less knowledge than what you gained in 4 years of college that you're not using anyway. So we asked this on our page, and here's some of the various different opinions. We have Josh Diani who says, yes, student loans. Okay, we asked, is there such a thing as good debt? His answer is yes, student loans. Leverage to buy real estate, companies, investments, etc. Good debt is a tool used to make money in larger amounts and shorter time frames than you can make without it. I totally disagree, Josh. I absolutely disagree. I'm going to tell you why. We had a young man that was in college who had student loans right in the middle of his college career. And when he came out to our training seminar, his mother, who was a single mom who struggled her entire life, who was in debt her entire life, 6 figures worth of debt, okay, she struggled to put food on the table. She came out to a First Steps to Success, and she ended up making 6 figures in 6 months learning to become an entrepreneur. She actually made over $250,000, $259,000 her very first year utilizing the tools that she learned at First Steps, where her son starts going, okay, mom's life has completely changed. By the way, she paid off $90,000 worth of debt her first year using our system that we teach at First Steps to Success. So he gets wind of this, he's in his early 20s, and he decides that, okay, I'm going to go to that seminar that my mom went to, all right? So what happened immediately? When he saw everything that we talked about money, right away he went home and he applied it. His name is Shane. Right away he applies it, and what happens? He immediately stops getting student loans, and he starts paying off his student loans while he's still in college, and he worked 2 jobs to put himself through college, to pay cash for college. And now he was cherry picking what was the most important subjects that he was going to study, that he was targeting, that he was going to use, versus all of these loans. You don't feel the pain of paying for an education when you're not paying cash for that education. And when your parents are paying for that education, you're just kind of flimsily walking through this whole college thing called this college life, right? Not really okay, I'm going to have to pay for this. And so he made himself pay his way through college. So while he was in college, he paid off his current student loans from the 2 years before, at the same time of paying cash for the next 2 years for him to get his degree. Today, he's a successful entrepreneur with 2 businesses making 6 figures. Hello? And no debt. Okay? No debt. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I have another statement here. I love this one right here. I absolutely love this one right here. We've got Scott Ledbetter, which, again, he obviously has done some research. He says there's no such thing as good debt. That was one of many scams the bankers and financial planners came up with. No question. Listen, people intuitively knew that debt, especially credit cards, especially consumer debt, was not a good idea. And so the bankers, just like they figured out how to get you to get a new car every couple of years by them partnering with the car companies for car loans, right? So they figured out how to entice you with something that you want, and all they had to do was position debt as it was a good thing. So get all your enjoyment up front, pay later. And they made 18% on those decisions. So they figured out a way to make much more money off of you as their slave than if you didn't have that kind of enticement in your life. And so they figured out, okay, all we have to do is we have to reposition debt, and people are going to jump on it like it's hot. They're going to eat it like it's their favorite candy. They're going to want more and more and more of it, and we're going to offer more and more and more of it. Bottom line, we've got a young woman who wrote in, and this was very interesting position, and I've got to answer it. She says, I get there is no such thing as good debt, but the cost of education in this country would make it impossible for anyone to get a good education to earn a salary that is worth anything to support a family. My parents are terrible with managing money. That was not my fault. Well, honey, you're playing the voice of a victim right now. Shane grew up with a single mom who barely could put food on the table and sometimes couldn't. If it wasn't for the church down the street, they would not have food many times. He didn't play the role of a victim. He put himself through college. And I just told you his story. He paid cash for it, working jobs. So 2 things that I have to tell you, young lady. Number 1, fact. College does not guarantee anybody anything besides debt. That's it. There is no guarantee of a good job. I didn't go to college. I actually started a business when I was 19. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19. That's 30 years that I've been an entrepreneur, and that entrepreneurial path has taken me to millions. Now, I will tell you, there were many other people who started businesses at 19 who had no experience. I didn't come from a family of money. I grew up on welfare in a violently abusive home, totally molested from the time I was 3 till I was 16. I had everything against me. So this victim voice will not help you. And blaming your parents that they weren't good at managing money, that's a gift to you. That's a gift that they didn't know how to manage money. And by the way, when you get married one day and you get to figure out how to support yourself, your kids, your future, yeah, you'll look back and say, thanks, Mom and Dad, for all the food you put in front of me. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for the shelter you put over my head. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for the clothing you gave me. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for the country I was born in. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for the education I did get from my school that I went to from kindergarten all the way to the 12th grade. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for all the school supplies you bought me and all the backpacks and all the Christmas presents and the birthday presents. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for putting up with my bad entitled attitude. Ooh. The fact that your parents weren't good with money from your perspective is a gift. You should learn from it. Learn from it. And don't put all your hope in college, because there are thousands of kids out there with crazy amounts of debt not using the degree that they thought they wanted to get. By the time I was 23, I was a millionaire. By the time my friends were graduating from college and graduating with $25,000 or $50,000 worth of debt, I had already made my first million. I had already had my first property. I had already paid cash for 2 cars. So nonsense. Get it out of your head. That's not how you're supposed to live. You're not an entitled brat, so step up, rise up, get grateful, and pay cash for college if you want to go. I think I'll just... No, I got to keep going. She says, what is an 18-year-old to do? Make her fortune before choosing to educate herself? That's what I did. That's what my husband did. That's what a whole lot of other entrepreneurs did. Okay? Or like Shane, paid cash for college. Okay? But they can't take away education you soaked into your brain for years of extra study. Yes, they can. Guess what takes away all that stuff? You don't remember half of it? Unfortunately, most of what they're teaching in college is totally useless. You want to really go to college? Go offer your services to work for an entrepreneur for free and offer to work for them for 4 years as long as you can learn from them. Tell you what, that's more of an education that you're ever going to get going to college, especially for a business degree. Is a degree necessary to do well? Not always. She's got some brains there. But isn't it always easy to make it without either? Yes, there's plenty of people that make it without either. Okay, so she says education is good debt. That's because you've been programmed to believe that education is everything. And I'm telling you right now, it ain't. Self-education is everything. Self-education. So I'm going to tell you what right now. Young lady and the rest of everybody else that might be in debt right now want to understand the difference between good and bad debt. Want to understand how to become an investor, how to create wealth. Boom. It's free, so you got no excuse. It's a book. It's 300 pages. It's probably the best textbook you'll ever have in your hands. It's probably the best owner's manual for finances you'll ever have in your hands. Not only finances, but for your job, for starting a business, for starting a family, and managing your finances and paying off all your debt. That's inside of this book. Get a copy of it right now. Do not be like 98% of the population. So if you go to firststepstowealth.com, again, that firststepstowealth.com. Get your copy right now. Get your eyes wide open about money and how simple it is, because if this former broke homeless cocktail waitress could become a millionaire who ended up with $1 million worth of debt, that then figured out very quickly how to get out of it and how to create wealth and to live a financially free life, and I'm willing to teach you how to do it, there's no excuse for you. There's no excuse. So get it right now. Firststepstowealth.com. You pay the shipping to get it to your house because, hello, I'm not. If you're not willing to put any skin in the game, you ain't getting the book. So get it, read it, report back to me what you're learning out of it and how you're applying it. There's been thousands of people who've started business out of that, grew in their jobs, paid off debt as a direct result of that book. You're next. All right, that's it for us right now. Again, firststepstowealth.com. Sorry if you feel like I've been too strong with you, but hello. If I can do it, so can you. Quit being a victim. Step up, rise up, and do something awesome with your life. Firststepstowealth.com. Get your copy now. Talk to you soon. Bye.